流の真実見せてやろう。まだまだ現役じゃよ。
3 years ago, I started this channel. While I may talk about many other series I adore, I keep the channel anniversaries focused on Like a Dragon, or Yakuza, depending on your lingo. Which means it's time to talk about the DILF master known as Komaki Sotaro, to the best of my knowledge. Yakuza 1 plus Kiwami 1, the birth of the Tiger Drop in gaming history. Crafted by the DILF master known as Komaki Sotaro. While the mechanics can differ between the original game and its Kiwami counterpart, you can find Komaki in West Park regardless, and witness history be made for Kiryu meeting the legendary old man himself. The Komaki moves you can learn in the original Yakuza 1 are, in no particular order, just throwing it out, Komaki Swordsmanship, Komaki Fist Reversal, Komaki Evade and Strike, Komaki Cat-like Reflexes, Komaki Knockback, Komaki Tiger Drop, and Komaki Parry. Reading those off, it sounded like I was reading some kind of a Christmas story. Anyway, while in the first Kiwami, they are Tiger Drop, Komaki Parry, Komaki Knockback, Komaki Fist Reversal, Komaki Dharma Tumbler, Komaki Cat-like Reflexes, Komaki Shot Stopper, Komaki Swordsmanship, Komaki Clear Mind, Komaki Evade and Strike, and Komaki Roundhouse Attack. Now, just be aware that there are different ways you can unlock these moves depending on if it's the original game or Kiwami. For instance, in Kiwami you have to find these paintings and you have to do a lot of Majima everywhere, but regardless, in both of these games you can fight Komaki in the Purgatory Coliseum once you complete all of his training. Would you look at that? Now this brings me to the next entries, Yakuza 2 plus Kiwami 2. It wouldn't be until Yakuza 2 in 2006 where Komaki would get his own theme, and not just some reused theme from the game. But it's not the Takumi one you would know today. Instead, in Yakuza 2 it was a track called Blaze, and in terms of the traditional Japanese style music used, I'd say opened the door for the Takumi theme we've had later on, and one that we'd know better for Old Man Komaki. Now, much like Kiwami 1, the mechanics can differ between Yakuza 2 and Kiwami 2. However, in both you will find Komaki in that same square alley in the Champion District, and can train with him there. While it may not be as extensive as the original game, it's still a lot of fun to go through. Following a climactic one-on-one match, Komaki will appear in some Coliseum tournaments, and in both games you need to go to the acupuncture clinic to unlock past Komaki moves. Notably, once completing the first 3 Amon Brothers sub-stories, you'll then find Komaki recovering from an encounter with Joe Amon, meaning you gotta take it personally against Joe in this game. He even stole one of Komaki's ultimate books! No one disrespects the DILF master of the Tiger Drop, and he gets away with it, damn it. In terms of the original Yakuza 2, you can learn the following abilities, or just general advice from Komaki. First, attacking in all directions, then building the heat gauge quickly, and lastly, anti-firearm combat, and then you get to fight him. In Kiwami 2, Komaki will teach you about extreme heat mode, and the following moves through these training sessions. First, Komaki Fist Reversal, then the Komaki Firearm Flip. Then after dueling with him, you get a Peerless Tile. Then there are other techniques additionally unlocked through XP and the Acupuncture Clinic in Sotenbori. And in Kiwami 2, it's especially Komaki's Breakfall Recovery, Komaki's Breakfall Strike, Komaki's Knockback, and Komaki's Tiger Drop. Now in both the original Acupuncture Clinic and the Kiwami version, you have to get the Tiger Drop after beating the story, like, chapter 12, the tiger fight, and then unlocking it through the Acupuncture Clinic. Now let's jump to the past of Kinzen, or otherwise Komaki's counterpart, Komaki Sozemon. Hopefully I pronounced that right. So to preface, Kinzen, Dead Souls, and Fists of the North Star are the 3 games where I haven't fought Komaki personally since, well, I haven't played those 3 games. I'll still cover them as best I can and shout out to the footage I find. Nonetheless, Kinzen is where the Komaki Takumi theme we'd come to love would originate. And from my understanding through text and YouTube, most of Komaki's training here revolves around swords, and as well, it's a game about Miyamoto Musashi. Then when it comes to Komaki's actual story, he sets out to find an old pupil named Zenkasai who stole one of his scrolls, and eventually Komaki defeats Zenkasai and out of revenge. Afterwards, Komaki moves his dojo from Gion to Ito. Thanks to Editman RGT2 for their video on Kinzen Komaki, at least some of the training. From my understanding, these are what you learn by training with Komaki and Kinzen. Get ready for another little Christmas carol. Komaki Cat Feet, Komaki Reversal, and Komaki Swordless Origin. And then according to a game FAQ walkthrough, you can learn these other moves from Komaki and also fight him in the Coliseum once again. Gion Mute Style Bowl Smasher. Gion Mute Style Hakribus Muffler. Gion Mute Style Swordless Catch. Gion Mute Style Mute Reversal. Oh, 2 mutes in that one. Then Gion Mute Style Swordless Spinning Death. And then Gion Mute Style Mute Reversal Suzaku, Seiryu, and Byaku. Gion Mute Style Cat Flip. Gion Mute Style Surviving Fist and Death. Gion Mute Style Breaking Throw. Hopefully that broke it down just enough for you guys. And while not in chronological order of the series, let's go ahead and jump to the past and look at Ryuga Gotoku Isshin. We had another Komaki counterpart, that being Komaki Munemitsu. I remember Isshin's counterpart to Komaki being especially hard to fight, since the brawler style in this game is akin to having water balloons for fists. Once again, he's accompanied with a new Takumi remix. Now, if you want to be extra cheeky, I'd say it's a valid headcanon to say it's the exact same Komaki throughout these historical appearances to the present day. I mean, why wouldn't he just be immortal, right? I mean, it's Komaki we're talking about. He can Tiger Drop Death. Anyway, the Komaki moves in Isshin or Isshin Kiwami, depending on which version, well, they're the same amount of moves, and here they are. Flurry of Punches, Komaki Doruma Tumbler, Komaki Knockback, Komaki Dodge Shot, Komaki Tiger Drop, Komaki Cat Reversal, Komaki Shadow Bind, Essence of Power Throw, Brawler Style of Prestige, Ryoma Limit Break Prestige. I don't know how many times I've said Komaki in this video. So, Komaki's story in Isshin is about him sensing the potential skill in Ryoma, and wanting to improve his barehanded fighting skills since he was impressed by his swordsmanship. There's also this guy with a mustache aptly named Komaki's Apprentice, who gets berated by Komaki from time to time. That's all pretty standard stuff that we're used to, just with a new coat of paint in a different context. And yes, you can find Komaki Munemitsu in Isshin's arena as well. I'll leave the Isshin section with this Komaki quote. After all, stubborn men may have strength, but what does such thing matter without people to inherit it? Yakuza 3. Yakuza 3 marked a new beginning for Komaki, where he'd finally start to open a new dojo and the Dragon's Palace 3rd floor on Park Boulevard, like a street over from the batting center. He'd pretty much reside here for the next 2 direct games. And here we get the first appearance of Takumi in a modern mainline game, that being Takumi 2009. Here in Yakuza 3, you'll have to fight 3 of his pupils across Kamurocho and learn a few abilities from each of them. Komaki's moves in Yakuza 3 are Komaki Knockback, Komaki Tiger Drop, Komaki Parry, Komaki Daruma Tumbler, Komaki Swordless Rebirth, Komaki Bowl Crusher, Komaki Dragon King Essence. Yakuza 4. If there's one thing about Yakuza 4's appearance for Komaki, it's a slight jump scare you get from him when playing as Akiyama. Sure, he teaches him about Mimos and notices Akiyama as a strong fighter, but it's nice to see Komaki interact with another playable character and keeping Kamurocho alive. Then once you return the Kamurocho as Kiryu, we learn that Komaki's become like 3% tech savvy here, and follows Kiryu's Revelations blog from Yakuza 3. The key lesson I learned from Komaki in 4 is this quote: "I don't need any journal, the techniques live in me." Now, in the context, he sold his technique journals to buy a cell phone, but come on, you would do that too if you wanted to follow Kiryu's blogs. And yes, since Kiryu is already a DILF master himself by Yakuza 4, Komaki is mostly here for the good kind of remember berries, and I'm all for it. You just have to go through 3 trials of Komaki pupils. However, you can fight Komaki in his dojo in the very last climax battle of Yakuza 4, as he will be Kiryu's last opponent after fighting through a gauntlet of past boss fights. Good stuff. So I got this Tiger Drop footage right here. Yakuza 5. I love how Yakuza 5 gives us more insight into Komaki's actual life with the inclusion of his grandson Sasuke. Since Sasuke teaches Kiryu in Fukuoka. While Sasuke and Komaki had an estranged relationship, the Dragon of Dojima, Taichi Suzuki, was able to get these 2 grumpy Komakis to reconcile. Well, in their own way of violence out of love, or love out of violence, whichever way you prefer, I guess. Fighting the 2 of them together as every character except Haruka can be a good challenge or frustrating depending on your tolerance, but I find it cool seeing the Komaki style martial arts literally be passed down generations. With that admiration in mind, here's a clip of me playing a Shinada and using anything but martial arts. I know. Notably, having every playable character spar with the Komakis and learn a new breakthrough is a fun mechanic. Even Haruka gets to have a dance battle, showing that even Komaki can break it down. I mean, look at him. He's still got the moves. If he can still parry and Tiger Drop and do everything, then he can definitely dance. And the theme that plays here is one of the dance battle themes, that being Be the Star, and it's pretty fitting here. Effectively, through fighting the Komakis, each character can break the level 20 limit cap and get the level 25. Back to Sasuke Komaki, he gets his own cool theme named, well, the cool guy, Sasuke. Please, RGG, bring this bozo back and let him meet Ichiballs. Now, through Sasuke, Taichi, or Kiryu will learn Komaki Knockback, Komaki Evade and Strike, Komaki Parry, Komaki Essence of Drunken Thrust, Climax, Komaki Tiger Drop, Ultimate Essence, Climax Heat, Max Komaki Tiger Drop. Yakuza 0. One of the coolest parts of Yakuza 0 being a prequel was having a younger Komaki meet Majima in Sotenbori. They fight in that old park area. It's like triangular shaped. Here the old man, well, he's still an old man, slightly younger, he's got some more color on his hair. He teaches and improves Majima's capabilities and his thug style, while giving hints to Komaki's past with each session. Komaki is especially as badass as ever in this game. He's a goddamn badass. Surprise, surprise. The thug moves Majima will learn are Komaki Warrior Arts, Thug Cunning, Invasion Strike. Komaki Mind Arts, Thug Cunning, Enlightenment. Komaki Assassin Arts, Thug Cunning, Frantic Throw. Komaki Vital Arts, Thug Cunning, Counterattack. Komaki Annihilation Arts, Thug Cunning, Harsh Lesson. Oh yeah, and Komaki actually goes by Komeki Somataro in Yakuza 0, which is like changing your name to Joryu. And of course, you can also find Komeki in the Coliseum, and in this game it's the bed of sticks in Sotenbori. So above all, I think Yakuza 0 is a pretty standout and just overall super cool appearance for old Komaki. And it kind of pays off in Kiwami 1. Like, sure, it's a remake, but it's kind of cool since Majima appears in Komaki's training in that game with his Hanya masked man. Different character, wink wink, but it's cool seeing the training from Yakuza 0 technically pay off here, and Kiwami. Now let's look at some of the weirder appearances or just the complete absence of Komaki from the entire series. So first up, Fists of North Star Lost Paradise. As I covered in my History of the Amon Clan video like 2 years ago, Joamon appears in this game as well. However, so does Komaki. And Komaki appears here to exercise in his favorite hobby, a martial arts sparring match. Apparently, you can find him in substory number 78, and later in the Colosseum. Colosseums are the usual habitats for Komakis, don't you know? Yakuza Dead Souls, in this Elseworld sort of game, well, it's hard to find information on if Komaki does cameo in Dead Souls, so while information may be scarce, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have some cameo or reference here. I mean, in Yakuza Kiwami 2, there's a weapon called the Komaki Matchlock Gun, so I'm sure Komaki himself has more techniques related to that part of his family legacy that he somehow could have conveniently given Kiryu in Dead Souls. But with that sorely being a Kiwami 2 weapon, that Matchlock Gun, introduced in 2017, since that's when the game came out, and Dead Souls released in 2011 and is a direct sequel kind of to Yakuza 4, and well, as we know, Kiryu was already a master himself. That is, if he doesn't forget his own moveset again. And since Komaki is more reliant on just hand-to-hand combat, and he does have some like anti-firearm heat actions, I just don't know if he would have fit as a master in Yakuza Dead Souls. But above all, I still need to play Dead Souls. I mean, I really want to. I just gotta track it down for a fair price. If only the merchant was around and he could give it to me. And here we go to 3 appearances with no Komaki at all. In Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, he doesn't appear. In Yakuza 7, he also doesn't appear. And the man who erased his name, aka Yakuza 7.5, yeah, Komaki doesn't appear here either. Although he is totally referenced if you purchase the upgrades to unlock the Tiger Drop and a few other Komaki moves. In little notes, Kiryu will reminisce about how he's like, oh yeah, I think I know who this is talking about in this journal. So yeah, Komaki is technically referenced. Then we get to Yakuza 8, aka Infinite Wealth, the amazing love letter to Komaki. Years later in the chronological timeline, we get amazing fan service of Komaki finally reappearing in the modern day since Yakuza 5 in 2012, since everything before was either prequels or in remakes. And for a game that apparently gives Kiryu his big send-off complete with classic characters returning, I'm glad someone at RGG knew we needed at least one last Komaki match. Just look at this background footage. The duel once again takes place in the Champion District Alley just like back in Yakuza 2, and I was starting to sweat during this fight since it was a true 1v1 for Kiryu in Infinite Wealth. Komaki almost got the edge of me here too, as expected from the old man himself. And once you defeat him, we learn that sadly Komaki's time may be coming to an end due to an illness. However, he's going to keep fighting as best he can, much like Kiryu himself. It's very emotional seeing Kiryu being old now and looking at Komaki, so much time has passed. However, we get to see Komaki become a pound mate, which is awesome. I remember using Komaki as a summon during my fight against one of the final bosses. Like, I mean, he even does the Tiger Drop in there. It's part of the thumbnail for this video. Like, just pure Komaki goodness. And no matter what, Komaki himself started a serious trend of having new masters of all degrees and techniques present to teach each new character. Some of my personal favorites include Saigo, Bacchus, Leo the Aristocrat, and Fei Hu. If there's one badass trend you can start, it's creating more masters in the series, so thank you for that, Komaki. In conclusion, since the series began with Kiryu, that means a plentiful amount of iconic fighting moves came along with him over time. Whether it's learned moves such as the Tiger Drop, Komaki knockback and parry, and many more, they all tie back to Komaki Sotaro himself. An old man, wandering man full of knowledge, who found a new purpose the fateful day he met Kiryu in West Park. And while the final duel they would have in Kamurocho decades later may be bittersweet, it still goes to show why you don't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes an old man will still have an internal willpower that transcends mortal boundaries. And when it comes to facing old age, we can still make room to learn new things. And that's how I describe the bond between pupil and master, Kiryu and Komaki. Thank you guys so much for watching and following my channel the past 3 years. There's plenty more to come. And just thank you so much. Please let me know in the comments what your favorite Komaki move is. It could be anything. I won't get mad if it's not the Tiger Drop. There's plenty of cool moves he's given us over the years. And once again, thank you guys for watching. Please feel free to share my videos around. I could use the boost. And I'll see you next time. Happy 3 years of Mr. TDF. Kapow.